Hi everyone and welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. Now for this week's tutorial we're going to be doing this beautiful gravity defying rainbow drip cake complete with those crystal clear hollow sugar balls filled with sprinkles. As always, I'm going to guide you through everything step by step, show you all the equipment and tools that you will need in order to make this cake. And it really does stand out. This is the sort of cake that you would stack at the venue. At the end, you'd simply transfer each cake separately. I really do hope I help you again today, guys. Let's make a start. You will need 2 cake cards, a 6-inch round and an 8-inch round with a hole drilled directly into the centre. I have also baked off camera a 4-inch cake, a 6-inch cake and an 8-inch cake. So you're going to need to repeat this process with the 8-inch cake, but I'm just going to show you how to cover one of them on camera. So I start with my 6-inch round cake board and simply cover this with buttercream. You then want to place on your freshly baked cake, as you can see I have 2 layers here. You can have as many layers as you want, you just need to check that you measure it correctly. That will be explained in a moment. And then simply place the cakes directly on there and fill them with a filling of your choice. I then crumb coat the sides of my cake and make it as smooth as possible. Just take your time doing this process. I then flip the cake over and cover the opposite side of the cake card with a very thin amount of buttercream. I then take one of the washers, which is part of the food safe cake structure. We're going to move on to that in a moment. And also one of the rods. Again, it's all aluminium and it's purposefully being made for food. And I use this to place a hole directly through the centre of my cake. So all I need to do now is cover this cake. So I've rolled out some black fondant. Here I am using Renshaw's Extra and I simply place this directly over the cake. I have left the rod in the centre because obviously I need to make sure that that part does not get blocked because again it's going to be going onto our support structure. You need to repeat this, remember, with your 8-inch cake. However, with the 8-inch cake, you need to make sure both the bottom, so the underside of the cake, and the top of the cake is also covered. With this, we can actually leave part of the cake exposed because the 8-inch cake is going to physically be touching it. Simply cover this out, take your cake smoothers, smooth it over, and where the washer is, you just want to take a very sharp knife and just cut around the outside, but leave the washer on there for now. For the structure, you will need a base and a 4-inch rod placed in there. These are all by Innovative Sugarworks. I then have 3-inch rods, and I have 3 of those. Again, by Innovative Sugarworks. All of these are food grade, purposefully made for cakes. We then have 3 couplers. And also on the right hand side of the screen, you've just seen me use one of these, we have 3 washers. I will leave a link and a description to all of these products just below this video. I'm now going to show you how to assemble this structure, but we will then need to take parts of it to bits again in order to add the cake. So as mentioned, we have got the base and the rod, and then you want to attach a coupler. Once you have attached the coupler, you want one of the 3-inch rods to go directly on top and then add a washer. Now you do want to tighten these up at certain points. So the base of this can actually be tightened up straight away. Further up, we will tighten them up a bit later on. Simply repeat that process again with another coupler and then another 3-inch rod, another washer, and again the final one, just so you get an idea of how the actual structure works. Now you understand how the structure actually fits together. We need to remove some of it to tighten parts up. So I remove the first washer. I'll leave the coupler and the 3-inch rod attached because that is for one cake. The other washer and coupler and 3-inch rod is for the other cake. And finally, you've got your third washer, which will be left on here in a moment, which is for the final cake. Once you've removed this, you then want to tighten everything up on the camera. Now this washer is going to be used for the 4-inch cake, which we're going to assemble and place directly onto the structure in a moment. But you want to tighten up these rods and the coupler. If you've got some pliers, preferably soft pliers, that will do the job for you. With the other couplers and the other 3-inch rods, again, I tighten these up off camera, ready for use further down the line. Start by covering the 4-inch washer with a very thin, small amount of fondant. This can be a colour of your choice. I found black with the rainbow colours works beautifully. The washer is now to one side, and all I want to do is just cover the base of this with sprinkles. So for this, I have got some rainbow coloured sprinkles and the lovely pink sherbet Dinky Doodle chocolate drip. I simply covered this metal structure directly with the melted chocolate and then sprinkle the sprinkles over. It's as simple as that, but you want to do this before we start adding any cake. Taking the 4-inch washer that you have just covered, simply pick this up and place it directly onto your structure so that the black fondant side is underneath. This way the cake's been decorated properly because literally every single part of it is covered with fondant. You then want to take the next part of the structure, so the coupler and the 3-inch rod, and apply this back to your structure. Tighten this up before there is any cake on there. Now we can finally add the first cake. Now this cake will always be on the structure. It's a lightweight cake because it's the smallest one out of them all. It's the other two that you would be transporting to the venue separately. So I just covered this with buttercream. Again, I have 2 layers. You can fill it with as much filling as you want to, and then we give it a full crumb coat. Now I measured this. Once I tightened up the structure, I had 9 centimetres of cake to play with. That does include the crumb coat and the fondant. So depending on how tight your structure is, you do need to measure the gaps between the first washer and where your second washer will be, which will be supporting the other cake. Then taking a small amount of fondant, remember this is only a 4-inch round cake, I simply cover this whilst on the structure, smooth out and cut off any excess. Now it's time to add the rainbow drips. So all I have done here is actually turn the structure upside down. I've added a washer to the other side of that 4-inch cake and supported it using a cup. Here I am using the new Dinky Doodle rainbow coloured chocolate drips. Yes, you heard me right. It's all chocolate. You can get them from Dawn Butler's official website. I will leave a link to that below this YouTube video. They taste delicious. They're amazingly easy to use and they look fantastic. I simply cover this with all the colours of the rainbow. And you just want to repeat this process with your 6-inch cake that you've already prepared and is to one side, and also your 8-inch cake. Okay, so to construct the cake, I am using a 12-inch MDF board by the Cake Craft Company. This just saves you time as it means you don't have to cut one out yourself. Now there are 3 holes on the base of this actual structure in order to allow you to screw them with a screwdriver directly into your wooden frame. So you want to do that and make sure it's in there correctly. Because we've already added the second washer, we can now add the other part of our structure directly to the cake. You need to be careful this time because obviously there's cake on there, and try and tighten this up the best you can. And now we can finally stack the cake. the part you've all been waiting for. So obviously this would be done at the venue. You would take some buttercream with you. We've got the washer there on the top of the 4-inch cake. That's going to be supporting everything. We've got this perfect hole in the centre. All this fondant's set beautifully because it's just been left to one side in a box to set. You've got your upside down rainbow drapes, which just gives it that more how have they done that kind of appeal. You just simply place this directly over your structure. And obviously the fondant's got a little bit of depth to it. So then I look underneath to make sure that the washer that is on top of that 4-inch cake fits perfectly where the washer initially was on that 6-inch cake when we was preparing it. It's the washers that are supporting these tiers. So they will move around in a circle if you like, but that is why you just stack this at the venue. And then we just add one more washer and lots of buttercream to the top of this 6-inch cake before we add the final top tier. And here you can see me adding the final layer with the washer and plenty of buttercream. Now remember what I said about the 8-inch cake, both sides need to be covered. So I've covered the base first, the part that you're not really going to see, just with one piece of fondant, a bit like we did with the 4-inch one when we covered the 4-inch washer. I've then cut away a 6-inch circle because it's going on a 6-inch cake. We need to make sure that fondant overlaps around either side of the drum that is supporting that 6-inch cake. Then it's been flipped the other way and I've covered it with fondant, flipped back again, and finally I've added those rainbow drips. Add this to the top tier of your cake and it really is as easy as that. Once you've got the structure of it around your head, it's not that difficult. In the images, I just added some fondant to the actual cake drum, some extra sprinkles and the rainbow drip. And for those beautiful crystal balls, you will find those as a separate tutorial on my YouTube channel, which I will leave a link to for you in the description below this video. Remember to check out those hollow isomalt crystal balls that we have, totally edible, filled with sprinkles, literally just made from sugar, available on my YouTube channel. You will find a link just below this video, and those are what I used for the toppers on this cake. Happy baking, guys. I really do hope I've helped you again today, and I'll be back soon with more new, completely free content.